In the ancient lands of Greece, there was a young man named Perseus, born the son of Zeus, the king of the gods, and Danaë, a mortal woman. Perseus carried a noble lineage. Yet despite his divine parentage, he had lived his life as a mere mortal, without the privileges that came with his father's name. In the city of Seriphos, where he and his mother had taken refuge, he grew up like any other young man, until fate decided to put him to the test. The king of Seriphos, Polydectes, was a cunning ruler. He sought to marry Danaë, but her son, Perseus, stood in his way, protecting his mother fiercely. Resentful of Perseus's loyalty, Polydectes devised a plan to rid himself of the young hero. He demanded Perseus bring him the head of Medusa, the most feared of the three Gorgons. Medusa was no ordinary being. Her gaze alone was so terrifying that it turned anyone who looked at her directly into stone. Perseus knew this quest would likely lead to his death. Still, with his mother's honor at stake, he accepted the challenge. As he prepared to leave, his heart filled with a mixture of fear and determination. Perseus knew he could not face Medusa without help, and so he prayed to the gods for guidance, and the gods answered. Athena, the goddess of wisdom, and Hermes, the swift messenger of the gods, appeared before him. Athena presented him with a polished bronze shield, so reflective it acted as a mirror. "Do not look at Medusa directly," she warned. "Use this shield to view her reflection." Hermes handed him a sickle-shaped sword, sharp enough to slice through the scales of even the toughest beasts. And then, to complete his armor, Hermes gifted him with a pair of winged sandals to fly over the treacherous lands. With gifts from the gods and courage in his heart, Perseus set out across stormy seas and dangerous lands to the dark lair of the Gorgons. The journey was long and grueling, filled with endless obstacles that tested his strength and resilience. But Perseus's courage kept him moving forward, even when hope seemed dim. Finally, after days of travel, Perseus arrived at the Gorgons' lair, a desolate wasteland littered with stone statues, the unfortunate victims of Medusa's deadly gaze. Taking a deep breath, Perseus prepared himself. Every statue around him was a reminder of what he was risking, and for a moment, fear crept into his heart. But Perseus knew that fear was just part of courage, and courage was the path to victory. With his shield raised, Perseus crept closer to Medusa. His heart pounded, but he kept his gaze on her reflection in the shield, avoiding her deadly stare. Medusa lay among her sisters, her snake-like hair hissing and writhing, even as she slept. Her features were twisted, monstrous, and yet Perseus knew he had to strike now. In one swift movement, he raised the sword given to him by Hermes and brought it down on Medusa's neck. Her scream echoed throughout the cave, chilling Perseus to the bone, but he did not falter. As he held up her severed head, the snakes continued to writhe and hiss, even in death. Quickly, he placed the head into a special sack, knowing its gaze remained deadly even now. But his journey was not over yet. As he tried to escape, Medusa's furious sisters, Stheno and Euryale, awoke, shrieking with rage upon discovering their sister's fate. With the winged sandals of Hermes, Perseus soared above them, narrowly escaping their wrath. As he flew, he felt the burden of Medusa's head grow heavier, its dark power seeming to seep into his very soul. But he clenched his jaw and flew on, determined to complete his quest and return home. Upon his return to Seriphos, Perseus found that King Polydectes had grown more tyrannical. He threatened Danaë, taunting her with lies about her son's death. Perseus stormed into the throne room, his courage now more powerful than ever. As Polydectes laughed at his return, Perseus revealed Medusa's head. The king's mocking smile froze, his skin turning to stone as he stared into Medusa's dead gaze. With Polydectes defeated, Perseus had saved his mother and restored peace to Seriphos. He went on to return Medusa's head to Athena, who placed it on her shield as a symbol of protection. Perseus's courage and cleverness became legendary, a reminder that even the most terrifying obstacles can be overcome with a brave heart and wise choices. Lesson: Perseus teaches us that courage is not the absence of fear, but the resolve to face it. Today in our own lives, we might not face monsters, but we do face challenges that seem impossible, whether it's standing up for what's right, facing our fears, or protecting those we love. Perseus' story reminds us that courage, when guided by wisdom, can conquer even the most terrifying of foes.